Alright, so it's probably the last beans video. It's been about 2 hours and 10 minutes and we're gonna check on them. After I lowered the temperature last, the pot, it continued to, man, what a disgusting haircut. Anyway, it continued to steam, but very little. So, little enough that it was fine if it steamed that much, because it was very little water loss. So let's see after 2 hours and 10 minutes what happened. Alright, here we go. I'm gonna open the pot. Oh, you see, they're already uncovering themselves, but they're already cooked. I'm gonna stop. You see, it's bubbling. I'm gonna stop the heat now, so I don't have to lose any more water. It's still bubbling, but you know, they're cooked already. You can tell already. You can tell they're cooked because of the size of the beans, how big they are, what color they look. They look kind of like pinkish brown, kind of like between pink and brown. And of course, if you taste them, they're gonna taste like they're cooked. They're gonna be soft enough, and the right size and everything. So, like I said, I was losing water because I was still steaming after I added the water. But you see, right here at the top, right here, these beans already don't have water. Just this little amount was above the water level. It wasn't below the water. It was above the water level. So if I continue to lose more water, of course, everything's gonna stop. But it's gonna start uncovering, and everything always needs to be covered in water, like I said. But at this point, it doesn't matter because the beans are cooked. You see, cooked beans after 2 hours and 10 minutes. They look cooked. So I can mush them, but I'm gonna eat them like this right now because I really gotta get going. But you see, I was losing water. I was steaming still. My pot was still steaming. It was bubbling inside, but it wasn't steaming too much. It was steaming enough where after the hour passed by, the second hour that I needed to cook them, my beans cooked by that time. So here they're cooked. And they're salted as well because I salted the water at the beginning. And I'm going to eat some of them and I'm going to cover them. Real quick before I go, this is the last video about this. Because I'm really hungry and I got to get going and this and that. What I was going to say is that beans, any type of beans, it doesn't matter what it is. They can be lentils. They could be like classic beans like this ones. Whatever beans you're cooking. Beans are a slow cooking thing. Even if you cook it at the highest temperature, they don't cook super fast. They take a long time to cook. Any type of bean. There's a lot of type of beans that exist, and all of them take a long time to cook. It's not like meat where you can just throw it in the pan and after like less than 10 minutes it's cooked. It's not like that. It's not like a quesadilla. Beans take a long time to cook. Okay, that's the only downside. They're really filling. They have a lot of energy, and they give you a lot of energy, and they have a lot of properties and vitamins and minerals, which is great. But they're very slow cooking. Even at its fastest, the fastest you can cook beans is like 2 hours and 10 minutes. So, but the good thing about beans is that you can just walk away and do other things. You don't have to be on top of them like with a quesadilla. You have to be right there, or if it's going to burn. With meat, you have to be right there. It's going to burn. With any type of beans, you just throw them on the pot and you leave them cooking while you go away or take a nap. So this is why crock pots, like I said, are great. Because you save a lot of time because you go to sleep. You leave your beans cooking and you go to sleep and you leave them cooking on low temperature. And by the time you wake up, it's like you save a lot of time because you don't have to worry about cooking anymore. You don't have to worry about making breakfast. You don't have to worry about anything at that point. You don't have to worry because your food was cooking while you were asleep. So, beans are great. They're the cheapest thing. They really are the cheapest thing. They're cheaper than rice and more filling than rice. And rice doesn't give you any energy at all or fills you. It doesn't stay in your stomach for long. Beans stays in your stomach for long, gives you a lot of energy. They're super cheap. The only downside is that they take a long time to cook. So if you know you're going to eat beans in the afternoon, You know, you want to start cooking them 2 hours before you want to. You know, you might not be hungry at that point, but you know they're gonna take 2 hours and 10 minutes to cook at the least. So start cooking them with plenty of time. Start cooking your beans with plenty of time so that you have them ready. And if you can get a crock pot they sell them for less than $10, like about $10 is the cheap one, and it's, you know, you can't cook enough beans on that one. It's huge. Buy the $10 pot. I have one of those right here. Where is it? I think it's under here. Yeah, it's right there. No. Oh yeah, it's right over here. I remember now. It's right over here. This is a $10 one. It costs $10, and it's pretty big, and it cooks more beans. You couldn't need as many beans that you can cook in that thing. You don't need the huge one that's like this size. Okay, so I will get crock pot because it's very convenient. Like right now, I had to be on top of this because I couldn't leave it by itself. If I cook them at the lowest temperature, the one that I'm comfortable with leaving while I go away for hours, if I leave it at that temperature, it might take like 4 or 5 hours to cook the beans. And I really wanted to eat them right now. I wanted to cook them. I wanted to eat them in 2 hours. I wanted to have them ready in 2 hours. So I had to stay here. I had to stay here. It's not that I wanted to, because I was cooking them at a higher temperatures. But if I could have afforded to, I would have left about the crock pot and go to sleep. So I don't have to worry about it. I wake up and look, beans, fresh beans, like just made. It's fantastic. Or not only that, I would have left them there on that pot. I would have used that pot like a crock pot. I would have put it at the lowest temperature where it's still hot, and I would have gone to sleep and wake up to beans, which is great. So always remember that. Always keep that in mind. Beans are a slow cooking thing. So if you know you're gonna eat beans today, start cooking them 2 hours at the least, 2 hours and 10 minutes before you know you're gonna be hungry, or 2 hours and 10 minutes before you know you're gonna be eating them. That's always something to keep in mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat those beans, and I'm gonna go ahead and maybe go out and do some stuff. I'm not sure. I'm really tired. All right. Well, see you later. Bye. Take care, guys.